Today's deep dive. It's a bit of an antidote, I think. A journey into this world of Tea Shop. A novel that really celebrates, I think, the enduring power of tradition, community, and, well, of course, tea.
Yeah, you've got this really unique blend of like modern day Lima, Peru, but then this boulevard that feels like it's straight out of like a 1960s film. It's like the author hit the pause button on time in a very specific spot.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And right at the heart of it all.
Yeah.
Bright Place, this tea shop run by Gray, who, on this quest to become a tea sommelier. What I find so fascinating is how that dream connects to like this larger theme of the book, which is really about preserving tradition in the face of, relentless change. It's not just about knowing your teas. It's about understanding their history, their cultural significance.
Absolutely. Take Gray's grandmother, Agatha, for example. I mean, she practically raised him on stories of Fortnum and Masons in London. She even worked there. Can you imagine years rubbing shoulders with like real tea connoisseurs before even opening Bright Place?
Wait, Fortnum and Mason?
Yeah.
As in the Fortnum and Mason, the one that's been around since like the 1700s?
The one and only. That's some serious tea pedigree right there. It really speaks to, I think, the author's intention to create this space where tradition isn't just revered, it's lived. And it's not just Agatha. Even Gray's best friend, Catalina, with her meticulous organization, she seems to crave the sense of order, of continuity in a world that, let's face it, often feels chaotic.
It's interesting you say that because even their other friend, Parsival, the resident geek with his love for Star Wars and anime and all that.
Right.
It's like he finds solace in these fictional worlds with their own rich histories and mythologies.
Yeah. It's like they're all searching for something that transcends just the everyday.
And then there's Elliot, the corporate tycoon's son.
Here's someone seemingly groomed for a life of boardrooms and mergers. And yet, he finds himself drawn to Bright Place, to Gray's passion, to a world that just operates on a different rhythm.
Yeah, it's like that first crack in his very polished corporate facade. You get the sense there's more to him than meets the eye.
Exactly. And I think the author, Bruno Penasco, does such a great job of just setting the stage for this clash between the old and the new, the traditional and the modern.
Speaking of Bruno, his own background is fascinating.
Right.
This globe-trotting adventurer who brings a real sense of place and history to his writing. Makes you wonder, can a deep love for something like tea, for the rituals, the stories it embodies, can that actually spark meaningful change in a world that's so obsessed with profit and progress? That's a question that keeps bubbling up for me as I, dive deeper into this book.
It's a good question, a really good question.
And the conflict really kicks into high gear in this part, doesn't it? When this faceless corporation, Spencer Martinez, when they buy the whole boulevard.
Yeah, right out from under them, and their plan to just bulldoze everything to build this generic shopping mall. It's almost like a physical manifestation of that pressure to conform, to just erase the unique in favor of the
profitable.
Yeah.
Talk about a clash of values.
Yeah.
It's like they're really trying to erase history itself, and leading the charge is Petra this ruthless administrator who practically embodies corporate indifference, like she's completely blind to the care, the tradition that went into that cup. And speaking of Munya, didn't that herb end up playing like a bigger role later on?
Absolutely. Yeah. It becomes this catalyst for Gray, Elliot, and Parsival to embark on this whole journey to Puno, the heart of Munya cultivation. But
it's about so much more than just, sourcing an ingredient for the tea shop.
Right.
Yeah,
and this is where Tea Shop really surprised me, I think, because it seamlessly blends this heartwarming story about community with almost a travelogue, highlighting this region of Peru that I think a lot of people maybe aren't that familiar with.
Right, and it does it without ever feeling forced or preachy. Bruno Penasco uses these journeys to reveal more about his characters, about their relationships with each other, with the world around them.
Yeah, and with themselves, too.
Exactly.
Especially Elliot, right?
Especially Elliot.
It's like Puno with its breathtaking landscapes and ancient traditions. It's like it starts to chip away at that corporate armor that he wears.
It's a good way to put it, yeah.
And remember that scene at the nightclub?
Oh, yeah.
The one where Gray and Elliot, they first meet.
Such a stark contrast to the tea shop
Totally.
All pulsating lights and modern music.
It's like a different world.
And yet, even there, amidst all that chaos, they find this spark of connection.
They do.
It's like the author's reminding us that even the most unexpected places, those moments of genuine human connection can just sneak up on you.
They can, and they can really throw a wrench into your
carefully constructed plans.
True.
For both Gray and Elliot, I mean, this chance encounter really challenges their perceptions of themselves and what they want from life,
It makes you wonder, what would happen if they'd never met that night?
Right.
Would they have just been content to stay on those predetermined paths? Or was a collision like this inevitable?
That's the beauty of a well-crafted story, isn't it? It makes you ponder those what-ifs, those seemingly insignificant moments that can just send these ripples through a lifetime.
But he never loses sight of the heart of the story, which is, that fight to save the boulevard, to preserve this way of life that values connection and tradition over profit and progress.
So we left off with Gray, Elliot, and Parsifal heading to Puno, that place where time seems to move just a little bit slower. It's like stepping into a whole other world, isn't it?
The way Bruno Penasco describes the Andean highlands, that sense of vastness, the clear air. It's almost like you can feel the altitude yourself just reading it.
And right in the middle of this ancient landscape, they find the Andean Paradise Hotel, this incredible blend of traditional Peruvian aesthetics, but also this modern luxury. Talk about finding serenity in unexpected places.
It really speaks to that idea that progress and tradition don't always have to be at odds. Sometimes they can enhance and complement each other.
And that's reflected in the muña too, right? This herb that's been used in Andean medicine and rituals for centuries. And it finds its way into Gray's quest to create this truly unique and modern pea blend.
Yeah, it's a reminder that the wisdom of the past can often inspire the innovations of the present. And I think that encounter with Mr. Condori, the Muña supplier, it really reinforces the importance of honoring those who came before us, those who have kept these traditions alive.
It makes you think about the things in your own life that you're drawn to, the passions you pursue.
Yeah.
What are their roots? And how can you honor those roots? While still making them your own. Pico, back in Lima. The fight for the boulevard, it's heating up. Petra's not letting up, is she?
Not one bit, no. That scene where she tries to sabotage Bright Place with those bogus plumbing claims. I mean, that's corporate ruthlessness at its finest.
Almost ironic, isn't it? Because she's so focused on erasing the history and character of the boulevard. And yet, she uses deception, this tactic that's as old as time, to get what she wants.
Right. It really highlights the hypocrisy at the heart of her actions, and it makes Elliot's decision to expose her scheme all the more satisfying.
Yes.
Because he recognizes that some lines just don't cross, even in the name of profit.
He's finally starting to see the world.
Yeah.
Beyond the balance sheets and shareholder meetings. Right. And falling in love with Gray along the way doesn't hurt either.
Definitely not.
It's a newfound happiness. It's short-lived.
Yeah.
When Petra threatens to out them.
Oh, yeah.
Gray.
It's a cruel tactic. Preying on Elliot's fears and insecurities. And it forces him to really confront his privilege and the potential consequences of his choices.
And Gray, bless his heart, he doesn't back down. That live TV confrontation, that takes guts, especially when he's faced with the possibility of losing everything.
He's got courage, that's for sure. It's a defining moment for both of them, I think, because Gray refuses to be silenced. And Elliot realizes that. True love means standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult.
And it's that act of defiance, of vulnerability, that sparks this chain reaction. Nano's viral video, Elliot's public declaration of love, it all culminates in this groundswell of support for the boulevard.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's like this beautiful illustration of the power of community, of shared passion, and of the courage to stand up for what you believe in. And in the end, it's that collective spirit that triumphs over corporate greed.
And how about that ending? Elliot reconciling with his father, the corporate tycoon himself, choosing a cup of tea over his usual coffee.
I love that.
It's like even he couldn't resist. That warmth, that sense of connection just permeates the entire story.
It's a reminder that change is possible, even in the most unexpected places. And sometimes all it takes is a shared pot of tea and a willingness to listen, to really open hearts and minds.
Beautifully said. tea shop is a story that it lingers long after the last page, you know.
It does.
It invites us to slow down, appreciate the simple things, and find the magic in the everyday. And as you go about your day, maybe you'll find yourself reaching for a cup of tea, savoring the aroma, and remembering that, even in this fast-paced world, there's always time for a good story and a moment of connection.
Well said. Couldn't agree more.